started the meeting. And so we will proceed with our usual. And everyone is here but Mark at this point. So we will move on. We have a quorum. And we know it's an open meeting. So that brings us to announcements. We also, David, part of the agreement we have with LCTV is we will be succinct and end the meetings at 4 o'clock, 4:30. I have
That's
to get
fine.
used to this.
That's fine.
So, yep. So that's our job, is to try to be very concise and succinct in our comments.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Announcements. Do any board members have any announcements?
Well, just a reminder that we have the little pantry down at the Baptist Church, and it's a little on the sparse side right now, but there still is food there, so please help yourself if you need it.
Thank you, Annalee. And welcome, Mark. We have Mark, where everybody's here today. What a treat this is. A great holiday gift for all of us, I think. I have one announcement, and maybe Susan would like to join in on this announcement if she has anything to add to it, but I am thrilled to see that the Hager Homestead has begun construction. If you drive down the main drag and you go right by Shattuck Street, there it is. You can see it's where Dr. Brukowski's home used to be, in his office, right next to the town hall on Shattuck Street. And I find it very exciting to see that that has begun. And do you have anything to add, Susan? Because she's been so involved in following this.
No, I don't have anything to add. The only thing was a couple of days ago when they had first started, I was driving down King Street, and the car in front of me, obviously they were so shocked by it, they just put on their brakes and came to a complete stop.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, just keep going, please.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they thought the whole building was going to be coming down or something.
Yeah.
I think that was, but it's not. The main house is.
They have removed some of it.
They removed the extension piece and they removed the porch side.
Right.
There was a glassed-in porch on the side, but the main house will remain.
Yep. So, yep. And that's going to be some affordable housing for seniors.
Yes.
Yes. So very exciting. Good things are happening in Littleton.
Right. Perfect location for them too.
Is that
Pardon me?
rental or sales?
I said a perfect location for them.
And Annalee, what did you ask?
I asked, are they rental units or for sale units?
Sale units.
I don't know if you remember, but we had a recommendation from them when they were in discussions with the planning board. Oh, well, how many was it? Well over a year ago. And we voted to ask them to do a little bit more as far as the affordable units went, if I'm correct, Susan.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yep. It's good news. And that was the main announcement I had, but I also, on behalf of the board, I'm sure you all will let me make this announcement, but I'd like to wish everyone who watches this show, the meeting, happy holidays from all of us as a board. This is a busy time of the year, but we wish everybody the best for the holidays. Okay, one more chance. Anybody else with an announcement? If not, we can move along right along to voting to accept the minutes, discussing the minutes, if there are any corrections, additions, changes, and move along. We have 3 sets of minutes. We had a very busy month in November, David. We missed you a lot. It was exciting. But we had our regular meeting on the 8th. Then we had a joint meeting with the select board on the 9th. When the architects presented their proposal and the results of their work. And then we had a COA special meeting on the 18th. And that is because we are not having the subcommittees meet, and we have decided that if something comes up in between regular meetings, I will call a special meeting of the board if it has to do with the senior center issue that we're focused on right now.
Okay.
So Hopefully we won't have to have a special meeting in December. But that's the plan. That's how we're going to be approaching things, especially in January and February when we're probably going to be very busy. So
Okay,
just to
All right.
catch you up.
thank you.
Okay, back to the minutes. Do I have a motion? Or other corrections? Does anybody have any corrections? Nope.
Okay,
Then let's,
then I move we accept the minutes of the December 8th, 9th, and 18th.
thank you, Susan.
You want to take all three together?
I think it's legal to do that, isn't it?
Mhm.
Who seconded that?
Emily,
Ann Lee, thank you, Ann Lee. All right, any other further discussion? I doubt it. So we'll do our roll call. Anita,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
David. Oh,
Yes.
David can't. I guess you have to kind of, yeah. Mark,
No, he can still vote.
you can,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah,
I'm
but
sorry, thank you.
I'll abstain.
Okay. Mark,
Yes.
Lorelei,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
and Marilyn,
Yes.
and Marge is a yes. Thank you very much. That's a unanimous vote. Okay. I see that Nancy Levine is with us, and that's nice. And Matthew, welcome to both of you. Matthew has joined us also. So we're up to the Friends report. Nancy, you're on.
Well, thank you guys, and a happy Merry to all of you. And as you know, the Loving Stitches broke all records this year with their Loving Stitches. They made a lot of money at the town holiday bazaar. Then they also had the football sale, and then this past Monday, they had, no, was it Monday, Thursday? They had an employee sale.
Excuse me, Nancy. It isn't the Loving Stitches group that had the sale. The Friends did.
The Friends did for Loving
Loving Stitches donated the material, the things for you to sell. Yes,
Yeah.
donated the items to the Friends to sell.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
And
Thank
they made more money on Thursday. And we are so pleased with all the work that they did. I mean, I can't believe it, and how proud they must be.
Can you tell us the approximate total that was made between all of those events? I think a record was set.
Yes, a record was set, and I think it's not $2,000, but close to it.
Wow, that's even grown since I heard the last tally. That's amazing.
I think it's between $1,700 and $1,800, but I'm not sure.
Wow.
It's going to be, I hope they start knitting right away for next year. Not every year you have to break your own record, right?
Well, that's true. I know. I think the largest in 2019, when the fair, we donated for the fair then for you people, I think it was like 1,200. So that is exciting. Thanks to everybody that's supporting all of that.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yep.
And I don't have the breakdown in front of me for the total, but Loving Stitches has decided as to how they want to split it. But that was from the holiday fair. That did not include the football, and that did not include Thursday sale. So I don't have that total yet.
Okay.
And I'm going to be working with Liz. She doesn't know it yet, but I am, on things that we might be coming up for February and for March. And since it's very exciting for her idea and my idea, I'm going to keep it a secret to see if we can make it happen. Because we weren't successful for December because of COVID, but the grab and go was great. And the COA staff pulled through. The Friends, we had 5 board members show up, and we had Santa, oh my gosh, and Mrs. Claus. Our senator came, helping put food, putting food out to the people that showed up in their cars. And it was cold, but it was bearable. So, and because I'm with my walker, I couldn't do much of anything. So I really had it easy, while the rest of them really lost a lot of weight with all the running they did around. So very grateful and looking forward to the new year and all the good things that we will be able to continue to do. So thank you all.
Thank you, Nancy. That was a great joint effort. It really was. And if I can take a minute, I neglected to mention under the announcements, you made me think about it again. I wanted the board and people to know that the Loving Stitches Knitting Group also in 2020 during COVID, we were approached by the Littleton High School Honor Society group who asked if we had any items that we could donate to them. They run a drive in December and January every year, past couple of years, to provide hats and scarves and things to the shelter in Lowell. And we did support them last year, and we also are supporting them this year. I have 3, a box and 2 big bags of things in the trunk of my car, and they're going to be picking them up from me this Saturday to be donated, and we support the National Honor Society in Littleton. So I just think that's important for people to realize that the Loving Stitches Knitting Group not only donates things to the Friends to sell to raise money for seniors, but donates to different charitable groups too. So just so you know what your COA is doing. Yes.
Marge,
Annie
I
had her
do-
hand up. Okay,
Marge, I do have an announcement.
yes.
We had a craft class last Wednesday, which was our Greens craft class. And we had 16 people come and show up.
Yep.
And then I asked if they would be willing to make a smaller centerpiece as a gift of giving. And we worked in partnership with Gail Dalton in the luncheon, and we needed to make 22 centerpieces that will go out tomorrow with the Meals on Wheels. So I just wanted to acknowledge my craft class and the people who come every month and all the extra work they did for the gift of giving.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you made that announcement because it was, I was there for that event and it was a lot of fun. People need to come because that's a great class. And actually making those extra things for, to go out with our Meals on Wheels was really a wonderful idea. So thank you, Anita, for doing that. Ann Lee, you did have your hand up. Nope, she changed her mind. So, okay. You're off the hook. All right. Okay, then we're moving right into old business. And obviously, our old business has to do with the senior center project. It is now being called, the architects referred to it in their title of their documents, the Shattuck Center. It has yet to be named, but we know that we know what we're talking about. And the community outreach piece of things is something that we need to be actively planning for this month and putting together a plan. So, Liz, perhaps you could update people as to you're in the working group. And I know last month we talked about the time frame. And then after our meeting, I did send out the projected time frame that was circulated back in August that the architects had put together. And it appeared that they seemed to be on target. So where are we now?
Sure thing. I'm going to share my screen. Let me just get there. Okay. I think I'm on it. Can someone give me a thumbs up if you can see it?
Yep, well, you can.
Okay.
You can.
All right. So this is our updated design for the building. Are you able to see my cursor as well when I move it around?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So a few changes have been made here, and I just wanted to share those with folks. This right here, this is where the kitchen is located, and this has been raised up just a bit to hide the mechanical structures, I guess, that need to go behind it. So you won't be able to see them from the front of the building. From the front straight on, you can see that the loggia has been extended just a little bit further over here. I think that adds a nice visual touch. This is the building again in comparison to where the library is located. Being mindful of the scale and the distance between the two buildings, trying to make sure that we have enough room for some sledding. And you can see right here the porch extension. View from the back, and this right here is just an estimate of where a fire lane might need to go. That's still being worked on currently, but the architect just put this in here as a placeholder for the time being. And in the design, you can see they fleshed it out a little bit more. They made this look like flagstone or cobblestone. I'm not quite sure the actual architectural term for it, but they fleshed out that piece a little bit more, did the roof line over the patio a little bit more, and they broke up the windows a little bit more. One of the things that we had talked about in our last meeting was the length of the hallway and how that related to egresses for each room. So in this one, you can see that there is an outside access door on all these different places here. And they just flesh that out a little bit more. So this is what that design looks like as of today. And let's see, if I turn my page, are you able to see this page?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Okay, so this is where we are now. We're starting the cost estimate in terms of finishing up the feasibility study. So this is what we're working on right now. And this is just looking through each room, the square footage of each room, and what materials we might need. So this week I will be meeting with the architectural group and Steve Moore from PMBC and some other folks to really go through each room and discuss what programs will be held in each room, which would give a better idea of what type of flooring will be needed, what type of walls will be needed. For example, if there's going to be dance classes in a certain room, it can't be carpeted, just things like that. So that's where we are. We do have a new timetable. Let's see if it's in my other PowerPoint here. And sorry for the scrolling. I hope it's not making anyone dizzy. Here it is. It's a little small. Let me zoom in. Okay, yellow line is where we are right now. And we're working on the cost estimates and owner review and appraisal. This blue right here is town meeting. This is our big date, our big to-do. So this is where we are, and I will share this with the board. And we've got a lot to do. There's a lot ahead of us, and we definitely have many steps to get through. So it's really crunch time for us, but I'm feeling very hopeful and optimistic.
It's really great. Thank you. I think that's important that people know where we are in the process. And keeping that in mind too, the board needs to know, because we need to target, and plan, establish, well, I know the architects are going to be, if I'm correct, anyway, the architects will be doing the presentations with us or for us at public groups that are established.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need dates from them before we can know exactly when we're going to be doing those things. But I'm guessing they would be in January and February, or maybe one in the very beginning of March or something like that. But anyway, so just keep that in mind. Am I right in that guessing, Liz?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody have any other thoughts or questions for Liz at this point about that?
Who's doing the
Yeah,
cost estimate? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. You first, Mark.
Who's doing the cost estimate? Is it the architect or is it an independent firm?
Independent, I believe.
Okay. Liz?
Yes.
Yeah, there's two floors, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right, just to get caught up. So, is there a planned egress for, wheelchairs and whatnot, with a road going down from the back of the building to that fire road?
Yes, there's multiple egresses on the first floor and the second floor.
But what I mean is it needs to be paved because you can't roll a wheelchair through the grass.
Right.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
just checking.
Well, we're hoping out in the back there to have a little patio where we're going to have bocce courts and shuffleboard courts if everything goes to plan. So there will be a solid surface, so to speak, before the
Okay.
back road.
Okay. Good enough.
Good question, David. Thank
I
you.
have one.
Yes, Mark.
Staffing both floors.
You're, wait a minute, you have static.
How are we staffing both floors if all the administrative offices are on the second floor? What's
Sure.
the plan?
Right, can you repeat it, Liz?
Yeah,
Repeat,
so
yeah.
Mark just asked what's our staffing plan for when we have 2 floors for the building and all of our administrative offices are upstairs. So on the lower level, there is a wellness office and there's also a volunteer desk that's situated right by the elevator underneath the stairs in the billiards area. So the plan is to have a senior tax worker or whoever is down there for our clinics be the second floor monitor. And we certainly have enough senior tax workers to fill the job with over 100.
Yep. And that's a great way to have people, I think, do that job, is to help out in the building.
Yeah.
Other questions, thoughts for Liz about this? Because she's the one involved in getting all the information and at this point doing a lot, connecting with people. I think it goes without saying that if people think of have questions for her in between meetings, approach her, get the question out. Don't wait for a meeting.
Right. And I know a lot of folks are worried about the sledding hill and the ball field, and I just want to know, I want everyone to know that that's discussed at just about every single meeting I've been at, is how to either maintain that space we have or to improve it as we further our designs. So it's not something that's being overlooked whatsoever.
Great. Okay, so as we move on, discussing this, I don't know if we can do this, but we have talked about getting that mailing out, and last month we were talking about the funding for it, and I know Gary was going to be doing some research into that for us. So can you update us on that, Gary?
Yeah, so a few things. It looks like the proper way to do it is for Liz to actually go through Alicia and ask for a fund request for this, how much it will cost. I talked to her about it. Obviously, we can also meet with the friends and see if there's any help that they can give to this and what their ideas are on a mail out option, and whether Alicia comes back after working with Anthony, and they say that even if it's like a cost match type situation where we can cost share it, but the money Alicia thinks might be there just to do the mail out directly. So it's like any other request, Liz, that we would ask. So I think it's important enough where it should be cleared. So that's really it. It's a little more simpler than I thought it was going to be. If we had known this kind of in advance when you were in your budget cycle, we could have just done a budget item for like mail outs type stuff. maybe looking forward, maybe we make that part of your budget, just whatever we want to call that. So that's something, definitely work with Alicia. I can be there when you do it. But I did mention it to her, so she's aware.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mark, yes.
So just a couple points. The mailing has to be different if it's coming from the Council on Aging than coming from the Friends. If it's coming from the Council on Aging, it cannot say anything like, please support the senior center and, vote yes. It cannot be at all political. You can just present the facts, right? So it's where the Friends can send a more political thing and say, please vote for this and that. The COA cannot. So we have to be very careful what we're saying.
Correct, because of the funding source that we're using.
Yes.
For it,
Yep.
sure.
I
So that
think
was another reason why I did want to mention the Friends, because I didn't know if they had any plans on some type of a publicity mail out or anything like that, because they can get a little bit more into the weeds on, please vote for this. This is all the great stuff, where we kind of have to be more reserved on our message. That's all.
What do you think, Gary, about approaching the Friends about putting out the thermometer like the library did and putting a dollar amount on there that we're trying to, they would be trying to raise by May?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, the library started that quite early in the process. Did you not? Or where are we in that? If we were to maybe even approach that, something like that.
So the library did a 4-year pledge, and this is year 3. So we started it roughly a year before we asked for the design funds, right? So
Did everybody understand him? You're staticky again, Mark. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Yeah, a little robotic.
But he said that the library had a 4-year plan. And this is year 3 of the 4-year plan, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know what else he said, but I caught that much.
Yeah.
So anybody else catch something that he said, or do you want to try again, Mark?
So we did start fundraising before year 3.
No,
No.
no,
I would just say that, the Friends, I know a lot of their money is designated to a new center. So that's probably a discussion we need to have as well. I haven't met with them. Maybe Nancy can give us some insight onto that, on funds that they've just raised over time specifically for the center, or to be utilized on things that are going into the center. In where we're going to be, where a fundraising might make sense, if it's not strictly for design, for the construction, but something else.
Okay.
It's kind of difficult for us to really, we can give ideas, but we really can't get too much involved in the fundraising side, right?
No, we can't.
Right.
That's for sure. We can let people know how they can contribute.
Yeah.
If they wish to, but we cannot go out and solicit at all.
Right.
You're right. So, and I don't know. Nancy, are you still there?
Yes, my hand is up.
No,
Oh, I can't see you. I'm sorry.
The Friends are working on our annual funding letter. And we have some new board members and new directors and members of the board. One of them has been asked to help us with our funding letter to make it excite people. Excite is not the right word, but we're hoping to send it out townwide. Now, perhaps we can incorporate yours with ours, because we're allowed to do that, and we can attach anything that you want. Instead of having it one page, we could have maybe do a trifold or something like that. I would suggest that one of you or more than one of you attend our next board meeting, which is the first Monday in January. I don't have a calendar in front of me.
Nancy,
Yeah.
that would be January the 3rd.
All right. So January 3rd, any one of you want to come, just let me know and we'll put you on the agenda and we can discuss this.
I don't know, I don't know the timeframes that we're working with, but I know that that letter, and we have a letter and questions and answers, it's more than one page, that we were talking about getting out to people. So that would be a fairly good sized mailing, I would guess.
It's nothing that we could. Liz, how big is it right now? What are we looking at for what we were talking about?
How big is the letter and the?
Yeah, what we were thinking
It's
of.
2 pages.
It is 2 pages?
Yep, front and back and one side. David has his hand up, Marge.
Pardon me?
David
I'm
has his hand up.
Who does? I'm sorry.
David.
Oh,
David.
David, go.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I'm coming in late on this, but your information, mailing is 2 pages and the Friends also have one as well. Will there be duplicate information where you might be able to shrink one of those, right, and get it onto 2 pages, perhaps? I haven't seen them, but anybody that's seen them might be able to comment on that.
Our letter hasn't been written yet. We're in the process of doing it now.
Will your letter be ready for the January meeting?
No,
So maybe we share what we have. I mean, that it might be it might be very much what they're looking at. And then with others, we can discuss that. If we have to remove some things, I know that I guess having 2 mailouts it's not a bad thing if we can get the funding to do it from Alicia. Great, but I think we can't really oversaturate everybody with information on this, right?
No,
So it's important.
exactly. But
You see-
also, to answer another question, the majority of the money that the Friends have is designated towards a new senior center. And how that's going to be done hasn't been determined yet because we don't know what's needed, except you need the money. But how you want the money given to you is still had not been mentioned to us. We thought we were going to supply perhaps the furniture or computers or something. But you have hired someone to do that with the architect to come up with the figure. I also know that our money is tied up in CDs and we're dropping the time limit on it so that it'll be more readily available when needed. Now, for instance, we're contributing money to the van that we approved, and we had to take money out of the CD fund, but we had time to do that, and we haven't been asked for the balance yet. But we have that money put aside for the van. I haven't spent it yet, Liz, don't worry. So we're working as a team, and we're hoping that we can help as much as we can. But as you know, we're trying with the fundraising, and which was great what happened with the Loving Stitches and what they did. But with COVID, people at this end don't want to give money. The holidays upon us, not a good time. When is it a good time to give money? Yes. So, but just come and talk to us. Let me know. Send me an email, call me. I'm always willing to listen and always willing to share your words with the board. Promise.
I would like to eject right there that at the Christmas Bazaar at the EHS table, when we were showing the designs and asking people about questions that they might have about a senior center, one of the biggest questions that came up was, how can we give you money? How can we donate money towards the senior center? And my comment was that the COA is not allowed to fundraise, that you could go through the Friends, or if you made a donation there was a bank account called Senior Center Fund under EHS, but we could not solicit and ask people to donate. But I got quite a few questions on how can we help? How can we give money? So we really need to get that out somehow, because the majority of the people that at least I talked to were in favor of the center, and they were of all different ages. They weren't just seniors, and they want to help, and they want to go to town meeting, and they want to be able to give a donation somewhere. So I think it's really important to get it out where they can do that and how they can do that.
So I think that brings up another issue, and that's a good point. Anita, thank you. That what in our mailing, when we do it, we ought to include that piece of information. I know, when I was doing my little comments for the, January broadcaster, I, based on your, information that you gave me about the fair, I did include that. That there were two ways that people could contribute. One was to the EHS / building fund, town account directly, or they could donate to the Friends, and it would go there if they specified it was for the senior center. So we need to keep getting that word out. That was one way I thought, well, I can get it in the broadcaster anyway, and we can at least start the process. But maybe both the Friends and, the board or an EHS should be helping we can get that article, get something out. Maybe Lorelei could do an article for the papers about that, and that type of thing. And we need to start concentrating on that so people have the knowledge. Because I remember the library thermometer too. It was fun to watch it. And it was interesting that people commented about that too at the fair, I think. So
I think that's a good way of getting it visible, putting something out that people see every day. This is the Senior Center Fund, donate, and however we do it. But if it's out there every day, so when people are driving by, whether they're Littleton residents or not, they see it.
right in the common. Can we put it
There
in the
you
common?
go.
I don't know if it's
I
possible
don't
to
think
even
that
do
would
that.
work.
But anyway.
I was
So-
surprised. I was surprised that some town entities didn't know how to contribute money. I won't mention who in particular, but I was surprised. I thought at least town departments knew that the Council on Aging could not, Elder Human Services, solicit for their own money. I mean, these people have been working for the town for a long time, and they didn't know that it should go to the Friends. Now, the library was in the same situation, but people knew that it had to go to the Friends and not to them directly. So I was thinking of closely what Anita just said is sending a memo, maybe make a little poster so that they could all post in their town departments as to, if you want to contribute, this is where to do it. Or even in the Action Unlimited or the Littleton Independent, just to do an article about what's coming up and how to contribute money. And then see what we can do with the letter that you guys want to send out and the one that we're working on. Oh, Mark had his hand raised.
I see that. Thank you, Nancy.
So the library could, the
Yeah.
library could, the trustees can actually raise money, unlike the COA. But we actually raised money and had a building fund set up with the town, and that's what we publicized. So you should definitely get out that there's the EHS building fund out there, and that's what the thermometer was tracking. And the COA, the Friends of the COA should donate the money that they're raised for the building to that fund, so that the fund has a larger balance in it. So whatever your goal for raising is, just goes up by that much money already.
I have a question. Do either one of you, Gary or Mark, or David, who's had experience in this, could the $3 million that's already set aside for the town for the senior center be considered part of the money that's available?
It's already part of the money that's available, but it's not something that you fundraise, so that's not something you would want to put that way, right?
Ah, you're
Actually
right.
work against you too when people see.
Well, that's true.
Right.
Well, see, it's a good thing I asked that question, because I'm sure
We
we'll,
didn't, we didn't claim, but we had the $6 million grant when we were doing the fundraising as another, we said that there was something else to offset the money, right?
that's true. You're right, Mark. I remember that now. Thank you. But it's a good point. It's good to have that clarification and that rationale. So,
But putting a sign out saying, how to donate to so where we actually used the Friends for donations was that a lot of people work for companies that will do matching grants, and they won't match grants to the town. So in that case, we would have them donate to the Friends, earmarking it for the library. Or if they were doing a donate or some other donations, well, yeah, that's what typically happened was things went through the Friends. Most of the money came directly to the town though.
So Mark,
Great.
were you soliciting to different businesses and agencies for that grant money to be donated? Is that what the Friends did? Did they go out looking?
The Friends we didn't actually solicit businesses that much. We did more individuals than businesses. We were saving the businesses towards the end, and we did solicit some businesses, but it was mainly individuals. But it was a combination of, so the COA can't actually raise money, but you can actually send out the thing that says, please donate to the EHS fund, because you can't take the money in yourself, I bet, right? But you're not actually taking the money in if it's going to the town fund. So
Yeah, it's just
that's something.
That's language we clear with legal, because there is a fine line, but you're right. I know there's a way to do it without soliciting, but we can at least mention if you are interested in donating to this cause, here's how you do it.
right.
I think that's the line we can draw.
Now,
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to this, but can the EHS solicit for money? They're part of the Council on Aging. So I thought the EHS could not solicit for money.
We can't. We can't.
EHS is a town agency, I think I don't know, if the library trustees are considered employees of the town, and the COA board members are considered employees of the town, and that's where isn't that how that works?
No,
No?
it's something different.
Oh.
So the trustees can solicit for money because of the way we're elected versus the way that COA is. I think it's a
Right, we're
different
appointed.
entity.
That's right.
Right.
And I think that's
But-
why.
But we had the right to solicit for money. And we could take in donations where the COA, the COA has to go, every time there's a donation, you have to go to the selectmen and have it approved. The trustees don't have to do that.
Over $500.
The schools don't have to do that. The schools don't have to do that either, right? So I don't understand what the distinction is, but there is one there. So the selectmen can give Liz the permission to accept all donations to the building fund if the building fund's under her control, right? Without having to go for every individual donation, if they so choose, right? But somehow the EHS fund, building fund, has to get more publicized in the ability to get the donations.
So the
that's probably a question.
EHS is allowed to ask for money.
No,
No,
no.
Well,
That's what Mark just said.
you're
so-
allowed to, EHS and COA is allowed to say, if you are going to donate money to our department, we would ask you to please donate it to the senior center fund. But
Okay.
we can't say, gee, like at the town fair, I couldn't say, gee, could you just donate some money to the fund? I didn't have the ability to do that. I could only say we have a fund and a bank account, and if you're wanting to put something in the bank account, you can do that. But we can't ask you to do that.
Okay.
The bottom line is you could put a thermometer out under at the two places. It would just be the Friends, their address where to send money, and then also the other account on where to send money. That's
Exactly.
Okay.
where
All right.
the funds can go.
In the interest of time,
Yeah.
Can we, can we, come to a conclusion as to how we want to, I think a lot of this is gonna fall on Liz's shoulders, frankly, to investigate a little bit more, certainly talk to, Alicia and about the possibility of the funding for the, letter that we had talked about and the questions and answers. And our desire was to educate people as to all the work that has been done and where we are at in the process. And I know that it's been revised, I think a couple of times now. But anyway, we establish a time frame to even target to get this done so that we have a goal to look towards. I think that would be helpful because we need to get some things resolved here. And to explore further this whole issue about putting up a thermometer and, also, I think we have an understanding of what can get published. If Lorelei was to do an article, we know pretty much how that can happen without getting in trouble. It's the question, it's just informing people that if you're interested in supporting this, or however we phrase it, it's phrased, but Lorelei doesn't send an article off without Liz reading it anyway to begin with, right? And approving it, so I'm not worried about that piece of things.
I would like to make a recommendation that the questions that have arisen today, that we have decisions in place no later than January 15th. And maybe we should call another emergency senior center meeting. And the 3 or 4 of us that were at the last one can work with Liz to get all of the letters and information together and work with Liz to get all the financial stuff in place to get an article out to Lorelei, because I think this all has to be in place no later than February 1st. I mean, and that's pushing it. I mean, that thermometer needs to be out before February 1st, I would think.
And I would also say we now is probably a time when we should at least be some of us or one of us meeting with the friends at every one of their meetings to discuss
Right.
it. So that, because I know there's a lot of information there that they might be able to help with or initiate the fundraising side. Just let them know where we are with stuff. That's going to be critical. I know Nancy's meeting with us today, but I think we have to go the other way too.
Right.
To help with this.
Nancy, Nancy's already invited people. I know they only meet once a month, but is it possible for you people to meet more than once a month while
Yes.
we're in the midst of this?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So Liz, how are you with all of this? What about that time frame? Are you feeling like, January 15th is appropriate to target to put together as a target date?
I think so.
And if we do, give you some help with that, revising some of this stuff and getting it ready, would that be helpful?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a meeting with Alicia tomorrow, so I'll squeeze in some questions and some clarifications during that meeting.
I mean, I don't want to, you have a sense of things, better than we do probably. So I want your input on what you want us to do and what you think would be appropriate. So,
Can I ask a couple questions?
sure.
Nancy, is there any urgency to getting your letter out? Were you hoping to get it out in January, or you just need to get it out? Because if there's going to be, I think you probably are going to want 2 letters going out, and one saying, here's what we have for the senior center with the informational, and something much closer to May to say, please come out to vote for the senior center, and here's what we've done so far. And it would be better if Nancy's letter that says, please come out to vote came out second, right? Because you can't say now, come out to vote, but you can give informational things and announce that there's the EHS fund and how to donate and things like that. But you can't do more of the political stuff now. So I think sending out the informational stuff now is early for something that's coming up to a vote in May, because people are going to forget about it before then, or forget that they even had the letter. So.
Okay, in the past, we have been very late in sending it out, only because we couldn't agree. So I was hoping to get the letter out in February, March, the latest. But perhaps what you just said makes sense because people will forget about it.
So what I was suggesting is that the letter from the COA comes out of like somewhere between January 15th and February 1st, and your letter comes out around April 1st, April 15th, somewhere in that time frame, right? So that it is much closer, and then there's more details that we could provide about the building and build more groundswell around it too.
Okay.
The disadvantage to that is if there's a lot of groundswell around that, if you're doing general fundraising, you're going to get less of it. You'll get more fundraising for the building than your general coffers.
Great.
So
Okay.
I don't know if that's a big concern for you or not, but it's just something to think about. And that probably should be decided, by January 15th, whether there's one letter or two and when they're coming out.
Okay. That's a good point. I will
Okay.
consider it and discuss it with the board, promise.
Okay,
And we
and
can be at your January 3rd meeting.
Nancy,
What?
Anita, did you ask Nancy a question?
I just want to know, what time do you meet on January 3rd?
10:30.
Is it Zoom or live?
Live. Room 233.
Thank you.
Well, that probably will be determined as to what's going on in January, but ideally it would be live. That's what they've been doing. Right, Nancy? I
Yeah.
have been attending their meetings, but I think it would be nice for other board members to be there where we're trying to work together and, and Liz, most often is at that meeting too, so. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but I'm also welcoming other people. Gary, if you can come, that would be helpful. I think you've had some great ideas about it, so.
I have it on my calendar. So I guess it
I'll
would
put
just,
it on my calendar too, Marge.
Great.
whereas you're just showing up at the meetings, maybe like Nancy mentioned, maybe be part of the agenda just to give what we just discussed and
Right.
answer questions to the rest of the board. I think that would be good.
That's good, Nancy. Can you get us on your agenda?
I don't know. It'll cost you. We're still
right.
waiting. We're still waiting for answers about the thrift shop.
Well, we have no control over that, really. I
I
mean,
know.
at
I
this
know.
point, so don't hold this up because of that, you please.
No.
I think it's a great to plan to work together even more closely than we have been, on this whole issue. So
Of course.
I think we've come to that conclusion. Are we ready to move on? Just because it is almost 4:00 and we've got only a half an hour left. I promised Amber, who's so good, that we would try to get done in a timely manner. So,
Amber.
okay. Okay to move on with everybody? Any other
Yes.
questions? Okay, I think we've made some progress here. Thank you. So we have some new business and I don't want to, Liz has been really working hard on the budget. And I sent you out her goals that she has put together for the next fiscal year 2023, and the initiatives. She's also going to give us an update on the budget update and capital request update. So why don't we turn things over to her so that we hear what she has to say, and then we can move on into the department reports. How's that sound? Okay, you're on, Liz.
All right, I'll start with fiscal year 23 goals. So at the last select board meeting on Monday, I very, very quickly reviewed all of these, but I submitted 4 department goals to share with the select board, and these are something I can always tweak and adjust, so any feedback is absolutely welcome. The first goal, obviously, this is more of a calendar year 23 goal rather than fiscal year, but number 1 is getting this building project closer to completion getting us across the finish line. So that's absolutely my first goal. And I'm not going to go through this in every single detail. In your packets, you have my goals with the action items for each goal. Just in the interest of time, because I know Amy has to leave at 4, and I think she might have already had to go. My second goal was rebuilding our programming in this ongoing COVID-19 landscape. I think that we thought at one point this would be over and we would resume back to normal in person, but I think we're going to be hybrid and slowly easing back into things for a very long time. So rebuilding our number of participants and re-engaging the community again is my second goal, because we still have a lot of people who have not come back to us, have not started participating in things, and I'd really like to expand how we're offering hybrid programs, so you can choose to stay home but still participate in a fashion. My third goal was rebuilding our in-person Congregate lunch program down in the senior diner. That was absolutely decimated by COVID. It shut down and we did not have any indoor congregate dining. The Meals on Wheels were still going out. I think there's 42 or 44 individuals in Littleton who are receiving Meals on Wheels on a weekly basis. So that never was interrupted. That continues. But our in-person dining has not bounced back yet. So starting in January, Gail is bringing back her soup and sandwich on Thursday to try to encourage people to come back in safely. We have our HEPA filter air purifiers running. We might need to do some retraining in regards to COVID, but I really want those numbers to come back. They were always kind of low to begin with. Congregate dining is not a huge draw for many senior centers, but there's things I think we can do to bring people back in safely, of course. And then number 4 on my list of goals was to really increase the awareness of elder and human services, especially the scope of what we do for folks who are under 60. I know we always talk about increasing awareness, but I think still there's a lot of people out there who don't realize the extent of what we do. So I'd really like to share with the community more what it is actually that we're doing. So Amy and I discussed doing case studies in a confidential way so we can tell you about how we're helping people, what this hands-on work looks like. Because, you know, if you just hear our name, you do have no clue that Amy's driving out, buying somebody a space heater at 7 o'clock at night, or getting someone into a hotel, or helping folks, women with domestic violence situations, and making sure that they're safe. There's so much that we can't share because of confidentiality, but we want to make people aware that it is something that we can help with. So that's my last goal for the department for fiscal year 23. Any questions on that? I mean, they're all kind of, they're not by any means unattainable or unreachable goals. I think a lot of our focus this coming up year will be on the senior center building. So I wanted to make sure that these are attainable for us, but I think they're still very important.
A lot.
Questions?
It's a lot, though. It's great. I think I agree with you about people not understanding and realizing the depth and the complexity of what the department is involved in.
Right.
It would be really good. Case studies are a great way, I think, to get that out. Examples of case studies of this happened, you know, in January or in whatever. So,
right.
Great idea.
We recently did have a case that I was just so impressed with Amy's tenacity on it and how hard she worked on it that I wrote a letter to Anthony that I asked him to share with the select board. And I think we will be at the next meeting to discuss it. And not just that, I got a note card today from another resident just thanking Amy for something that they had received help with back in the fall. So I just want people, I want the recognition that she deserves to be out there and let people know what it actually looks like. So,
Well, having worked with Amy along with St. Vincent de Paul, the two groups working together. St. Vincent de Paul is overwhelmed at what Amy is able to do, you know, and what her abilities are and how hard she works day and night. And maybe that needs to be a focus in the broadcaster and a focus in an article for the paper for Lorelei to write, interviewing her and what she does in the hours that she puts in that nobody knows about. Because when I was at the fair and I talked to people about EHS, they had no idea. They just didn't have any idea and were shocked at the things that we could do for people.
Great, thank you, Anita.
Okay.
Any other questions for Liz about that? And if you have any ideas, please share them about ways of, you know, getting the, and talk it up. I'm not so sure all of us really realized how complex Amy's job is too. So maybe we could hear some of that from
Could I,
either you, Liz, or from Amy, if we can ever, you know, get our timing down well. So that the board members, we all learn too. I think that's important. So that then we can share it with people.
could I briefly share the case I wrote about to Anthony?
Sure, I'd love to hear it.
So if anyone
We got 38
knows,
minutes.
I will be very fast. So if anyone knows who I'm talking about, please do not say any names for confidentiality and I'll change some details. But there was a resident in town who their furnace broke, and furnaces are very expensive. They did not have heat. They were heating their home with space heaters, which we know is not the safest thing to do. This person also had a pet, so they did not want to leave the pet home and go somewhere else, stay somewhere else. So Amy worked with SMOC, which is the Southern Middlesex Opportunity Council, and their energy fund to get full funding for the replacement of this person's furnace, which was about $7,000. And this took such a long time, daily phone calls involving protective services to leverage some authority over the situation. And then when it got too cold, Amy was able to secure funding for up to 11 nights in a hotel, thanks to St. Vincent de Paul and Minuteman Senior Services, and even found a hotel that would accept a cat in this type of situation. And this, getting the person from not wanting to leave their home to eventually leaving their home was, while the repair took place, was a lot of work in itself. And then figuring out the daily details of how to get the person food, because the hotel room did not have a refrigerator or a microwave. So that involved trips to the other town where this hotel was to deliver food. It was just incredible. And then there's the things you don't think about, like shutting off the water so the pipes don't freeze, finding a plumber who will come out to the home and drain the pipes so you don't have any problems in the home. There's so many steps involved. And Amy just went down the line, knocked it out of the park. She's just incredible. So I want people to know that those are the things that we can help with. And yeah, she blows my mind. She's incredible. I wish you were here to hear this.
Oh, yeah, well, we'll have to just,
Make her watch it.
yes, make her watch it. So, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Amy.
Yes.
Okay.
right.
For
So-
time, do you want me to move on to my
Yep.
budget?
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Sure thing. I'm going to share my screen. So I have some very large budget requests for this coming up year. Please let me know if you can see the screen. Can you see my
Yes, we can.
yellow and blue bars? Okay. So
We don't
not-
see yellow bars, excuse me, we don't see yellow bars, blue bars we see.
do you
Oh,
see-
are the yellow bars light blue, maybe?
There's light yellow and blue.
yes.
Oh.
Yep. Okay.
All right,
Okay. So based on the volume of work that we have coming in and looking at our budget over the past couple of years, my main takeaway, I think, is that we're currently funded as if we're just a senior center, just a council on aging, and not this total package of senior center, council on aging, plus human services for the entire town. So in this budget for FY23, I've kind of reflected that. One of my biggest asks here is for a second outreach worker. That comes at the tune of about $61,000. So that's the huge increase you see here for 3 staff members. Going through the line items, and I'll do this quickly because I need to leave shortly as well. For vehicle repair and maintenance, I had to increase that line based on the cost of what it actually costs to change oil, get the vans inspected. That hadn't been updated in previous years. For professional services, this is a huge increase as well. One of the programs that the town has is called William James Interface Referral Services. And this is a mental health service for anyone who lives in Littleton. You can call William James College, their interface referral service, and they'll do an intake over the phone, and they will find you a counselor or a therapist based on your needs, your age, what your concerns are. So this program for the past several years has been under the Board of Health. So the Board of Health has covered the cost. This year, administration and finance has asked that we take on this program, which is $26,000. It's actually $13,000 per year paid 2 years at a time. So our non-staff expenses are increasing just in this line item by $26,000. Now, I recently had a meeting with them last week, and they told me that there is going to be a price increase. So instead of $26,000, it's going to be $32,000. So this is a lot. When our department's non-staff expenses are generally around $25,000 annually, adding $32,000 makes it look like a huge increase. One, essentially it is cost neutral because it's just going from one department to another. But after a little investigation, I did find that a majority of the referrals are coming from the schools, and they are for ages middle school, elementary school, and high school is about 60 to 70% of the referrals. So I will be seeing if we can share the cost or split the cost or carry this for a year, and then perhaps maybe the schools can find some room in their budget for this program. I do think it's valuable for the town. I think we should have it. When I was in Northborough, the Family and Youth Services Department brought this on to help them with their referrals for mental health counseling. I do think it has value and we should have it. Just adding this to our budget makes it look like inflated dramatically. Training and conferences line is staying the same. Postage is increasing pretty dramatically based on conversations I had with the Friends group about mailing of the broadcaster. They brought up a good point that this is an essential service, that the print media is still the main way that we reach people in town. It's how we spread our information and what we're doing. So I'm going to try to move this rather from being something that the Friends funds to potentially being funded in our postage line item. There was an individual in town who for many years was donating to the Friends specifically for the broadcaster mailing, and for some other reasons, this person is no longer able to do that. So I'm going to see if we can put this in our budget. Crosstown Connect fee is staying about the same. Office supplies, slight increase, but very, very low. Meal site is staying the same. Community programs is dropping because I'm trying to consolidate all of our core programs, which you can see down here under formula grant. So our core programs are what I consider to be our Carol Wings fitness classes, stretch and flex, yoga, Tai Chi, the line dancing, other yoga class, like the fitness classes. In the past, we've paid for those in our revolving account and in our community programs account in various different places. I'm going to try to consolidate them all under just the formula grant, which we get every year from the state for $20,952. There is discussion about this increasing based on the 2020 census results, but there is no confirmation as of yet. So Elder Affairs has told us to plan as if we don't have an increase. So right now, I'm moving those from community programs line item to our formula grant. Minuteman assessment is something that we no longer need to pay for, so that is a savings of $2,500. Travel is just about the same. Dues and subscriptions are slightly higher just based on inflation. And then other expenses, this is an increase, again, based on inflation of cost. This is like cell phone reimbursement for staff and other things that come up. So that was a lot of information, very fast. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a quick question on the broadcaster.
Yes.
How's the printing of the broadcaster actually covered? 2,500 doesn't seem like it's enough to cover printing and postage.
Yeah. So we use LPI, which is liturgical press, and they use the advertisements to pay for the cost of the printing. They bring them here, we hand fold them, we label them, tape them, bring them over to the post office. So we only need to pay for the actual postage, which is about it's usually between $170 and $180 a month.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Liz, I had a question reference some of the budget items here. Has any of this been discussed with the potential use of ARPA money?
No, but I do have a meeting with finance and administration tomorrow morning about budget. So I'm wondering if that is on the table.
Okay. I think it might be because I was just looking at some of these. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is just very basic preliminary, my hopes and dreams and wishes for the department. I'm sure this will not be the final, but I will be advocating for it.
Awesome.
My big ask is the second outreach worker.
Yeah.
Other questions for Liz?
I
No?
can move on to capital improvement plan. This is very quick. Just have 2 items on that. Just give me 1 second again. Okay. Okay, are you able to see our rusty van?
Yep.
Okay. So here is old Trustee Blue, which currently lives over at the Light and Water Department. This van is very, very rusty. We do not use it anymore. I talked to administration about potentially selling off this van because it's not something that we feel comfortable using anymore. The wheelchair lift hydraulics are unreliable. This was on a capital plan I did about 2 years ago. I currently pushed this out to 2025 based on our low ridership numbers right now. So we do have a MART van leased to us. We have a van that we own and use. But what we're looking for in the future is a smaller van with a lower profile so we do trips into Boston. I think it's once a month for medical appointments. And we want something low profile that is able to go under Storrow Drive. This van was able to do that. And if you've seen PRCE's vans, you'll know the type of van I'm talking about. It's similar to this, it's sleek, it's not the big boxy bus. So that's what I'm hoping to accomplish. So that's going to be around $65,000, but I'm not sure that number is going to stay the same. The other item, obviously, is our senior center, which we're hoping will cost under $10,000 or $10 million. And I highlighted this with the current office setup pictures to show what we're actually working with. So this will be our big ask at the Maytown meeting for assistance with funding of this building. And that's all I have on the capital plan.
Wow. Questions for Liz?
I would just say once again, let's reach that question of the van potentially being able to use ARPA. Because that's something where typical community individuals cannot get out, or they can't get somewhere. And it could be due to COVID, maybe not due to COVID, but it might fall under some of those funding. So just something, I mean, it's worth running by. That it might move it from 25 to 24, depending on how long we have to use that money, but something to think about.
That's a great suggestion. Thank you.
So
I'll definitely follow up on that.
Great. Okay. Any other questions for Liz? We're closely running out of time and we have quite a few. We've already talked about the EHS table basically at the annual town fair. Anita, do you have anything else to add about that? You've mentioned it, and I think Susan was there also. Either one of you? You're muted. Anita, you're muted.
I would just like to say thank you for everybody who helped me that day. Sue was there all day, and all the people who said they would come and help did. And I appreciate everything that Gary and Chuck did to get tables and chairs there Friday night and pick up on Saturday. So it was a very good day, and everybody chipped in, and I'm thankful for that.
Thank you. Susan, do you have anything to add? No. Okay. All right. Can we quickly do the report so Liz can get going too? It's 4:17. We have about 10 minutes. So
Okay.
you've gone
All right.
over some of it, I think.
I think so. You see my screen?
Yep.
All right, you can see our numbers are slowly or speedily creeping back up. Outreach has had a huge jump, probably due to open enrollment and fuel assistance requests. And you can see, again, as always, our under 60 outreach is steadily climbing, hence asking for a second outreach worker to assist with all of this. Our transportation is, it's still kind of low, when at one point in time we had 2 vans running, 300 rides per month, and we're still very low in that area. So this is our November numbers. I will do the outreach portion as well, since Amy had to go. Nicole was, I think Nicole is here, but I'll show this because I don't think she has camera option right now. December 21st is the longest night. It's something that the Alzheimer's Association recognizes as a way to honor those who are caregiving for someone with Alzheimer's or related dementia. So they have this event called the Longest Night, where they have, there's Nicole, where they have these luminaries, and you write who you're honoring in your longest night, and your mom, grandma, whoever, and we put this little candle in the luminary. So on December 21st, we will have these outside in the courtyard. If you want to pick up one of these luminary bags and write somebody's name on it in honor of someone you were caring for, someone you lost, somebody you know is living with Alzheimer's or related dementia, you can pick these up in our office. Anything I forgot, Nicole?
No, I think that's it. We're excited to do this year.
Yeah. Okay, and I think that covers it. I can't think of anything else. We have the Tower Hills Nightlights program coming up. That was fantastic. And what else, Nicole?
Yeah, Tower Hill is tomorrow, and we needed 17 people to sign up to run it, and we had an overwhelming response. So we're really excited to see how that goes. And I'm trying to think. In January, I think we're starting up the Gail's special lunches. So we're going to be, I can't remember the date off the top of my head, but we're going to be trying that and seeing how it goes, to see if that's something we can bring back if people are interested as well. So, steadily increasing programs, trying to get people out here as they feel comfortable.
Thank
Great,
you.
that'd be fun, I think. So those Thursday lunches were wonderful and people did enjoy them. So good thing to try to get back, I think. Any questions for Liz or Nicole? And please share with Amy how impressed we are with her tenacity. I guess that's a good way to describe it. That's
Yeah.
a lot of tenacity to do that job right now. That's for sure.
It is.
Yeah.
And
Okay, I'm sorry.
I mean, people are handwriting notes thanking for the information and encouragement given by Amy. It was very helpful when I met with her. And they
Great.
included a donation as well.
Well, I think it's worth watching that select board meeting next meeting. You're gonna be there, right? About this whole issue, so
I
that's
hope
great.
so.
Any questions for Liz about the reports or Amy, or Nicole? Sorry, Nicole. Either one of them?
I have one
Yes.
question. Liz, on your report with the outreach numbers, and
Mhm.
then you have the category outreach under 60.
Mhm.
Those are two separate categories, correct?
Yes,
The outreach number isn't including the outreach under 60.
correct.
So the outreach number is
Seniors?
clients over 60 or
Yeah.
activities or whatever, over 60 in the other. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, we can entertain a motion to accept both reports.
I move to approve the reports, to accept both the director and outreach coordinators reports.
Okay, do we have a
Second,
second? Pardon me?
second,
Thank you, Susan. Any other further discussion? Okay, if not, we will do the roll call. Anita,
Yes.
Susan,
yes.
David. David, he might have, is he here? There he
No,
is.
he's here. Somebody muted me.
Oh, gee.
The answer is yes.
Thank you. Mark,
Yes.
Lorelei,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Ann Lee,
Yes.
Marilyn,
Yes.
and Marge is a yes. Another unanimous vote. Thank you all. And it's 4:23. We should feel good. I think we've done a pretty darn good job. And we will have to figure out if we need to have if we need a special meeting before January 3rd and when people meet with the friends. We'll talk about that, but I'll consult with Liz over that. So, and Anita, the vice chair. Otherwise, any other business that needs to come before us today? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Who said that? I'm sorry.
Emily.
Ann Lee, thank you.
I'll second.
Second.
Thank you, David. All right. Okay, Anita,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Sue, thank you. David,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Lorelei,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Ann Lee,
Yes.
Marilyn,
Yes.
and Marge is a yes. All right. Great job, everyone. It's 4:25.